I had no faith in making any progress in The Last Faith, but to my surprise I managed to survive a few hours of it for your entertainment, certainly enough to offer some early gameplay impressions. Welcome everyone to I Dream of Indie Games, my name's OldGamerJoe, and yes, we are looking at the newest Metroidvania meets Souls game to hit the market, The Last Faith. And before we dive into this one, I have faith that you'll support independent content over at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. You can gain Discord access, early ad-free shows, exclusive live streams, and so much more. Your community is waiting. So booting up The Last Faith for the first time, I was actually shivering in my boots expecting the usual ass whooping that this genre is known to deal out to me. And don't get me wrong, I saw my fair share of death screens in my 3 hours of gameplay, but I also made some progress? Yeah, I'm just as surprised as you are, but The Last Faith seems somewhat forgiving, at least in its early stages. As you begin the game, you'll choose between 4 different combat styles, which are Brawler, Rogue, Stargazer, and Marksman. I personally went with Rogue, but each style seems to come with its own attributes, and I thought it was cool that you were given any options at all. You probably weren't expecting sunshine and rainbows in a game called The Last Faith, and you'd be absolutely correct in this assumption. Developer Kumi Souls Games has created a bleak atmosphere full of sadness and despair. The world is now overrun with corruption, and the story is mostly based around gaining salvation through violent deeds. You play as Eric, and obviously I haven't finished the game yet, but the narrative comes off as rather cryptic, just as you would expect from this genre, and doesn't really seem to stray too far from that path. You'll meet plenty of bizarre characters along the way, all with their own burdens and dark pasts of their own. All of the dialogue is rather poetic to a fault, as it can cloud the meaning of the text, but also fans of this genre seem to eat that up, so it probably won't bother you all that much if you're watching this video. Notes are scattered around the world, everything is cryptic, you probably know the drill, and there isn't much new or exciting here narratively. Regardless, the art direction is impressive, drawing some clear inspiration from the Blasphemous series with its religious themes. Again, nothing you won't find visually that you haven't seen before in countless other indie Metroidvanias, but the pixel art, the creature designs, backgrounds, and animations are all pretty damn good. Blood flows like wine at a Sunday service, dust kicks up as corpses of your foes fall to the earth. There's an impressive attention to detail and level of gore that holds its own even when compared to some of the best in the genre. The sound design also beautifully intersects with the graphics, as everything from screams of torture in the background to your character's heavy footsteps and breath help to bring this nightmare into reality. Voice performances do feel a bit canned, but are halfway decent and not a total deal breaker to the immersion. But as for the gameplay, again, this is more or less what you would expect. Slash down enemies with a variety of weapons that you find along the way. Rely on your platforming skills as well as your reflexes, and perhaps most importantly, you'll need to hone your ability to read a Metroidvania style map while doing a fair share of backtracking. Eric has healing items he can activate during combat, which are surprisingly easy to come across, and quite a few other weapon skills that can be activated by holding down the right bumper and pressing action buttons. It's also nice to have both close and ranged attacks available with weapons that can be equipped in both the left and right hand and toggled between with ease. And oh yes, there are executions. Should you die, you'll drop all of your experience but can go back to the area of death to retrieve it. Sorry if it sounds like I'm speeding through all of these mechanics, but honestly, there's really just not much new here to be found. Anyone who has played a Metroidvania game with Souls elements will feel right at home. The giant bosses with patterns to be learned, the secrets hidden behind breakable walls, checkpoints, and a pretty well implemented fast travel system, it's all ever so present. And hey, for what it's worth, The Last Faith executes all of these systems impressively, but what I have enjoyed the most thus far is that the game feels pretty fair. I think the developers have done a good job balancing the difficulty, but of course I fully expect a ridiculous boss to come around at some point and completely ruin my day. But all told, The Last Faith isn't going to win any points for originality, however its combat and platforming do feel really good. I like the visual and sound design of the game, and I think fans of the genre will find plenty to like here. They are saying players can expect about 12 to 20 hours of gameplay depending on if you want to get every secret, so I'm looking forward to diving in and playing more of this one myself, and I'd say give it a look if you love a good violent Metroidvania with Souls elements.